Ooh, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Crypto Kirby here, your cryptocurrency expert, back with another edition of the daily live stream. What is going on, my friends? Today I'd like to discuss Bitcoin and how I believe the interest rates rising and mortgage rates rising, student loan debt right now, plus the tariffs, ladies and gentlemen. Sheesh. There's a lot to talk about here today. Also, news concerning the ETF for Bitcoin that's tentatively looking to launch here soon. We finally had an update. Guys, I think there are a lot of factors playing into the current Bitcoin price action. Also, obviously, along with the altcoin market, etc. I'd really like to take an in-depth look here today at Bitcoin. I'd like to look at Ethereum just a little bit. And of course, guys, everything I just outlined. So big stream here today. And you guys already know the deal. If you like these daily crypto videos and nightly live streams, smack that thumbs up button, click the subscribe, tick the little bell, and let's get this crypto. Moon the likes, ladies and gentlemen. Moon them up. All right, so we'll begin with our Bitcoin technical analysis. Now, right away, guys, here on the 4-hour time frame, it is easy to see we are still stuck within our equilibrium. We have not been able to break this zone once again. We have found a tentative support level rising up above our previous resistance. We had previous resistance after the large dump down from our prior consolidation zone. We found resistance at about 62.40. We had that huge tether manipulation wick. And we wound up now after a bunch of consolidation, a minor dump. We are now building support on top of prior resistance, which is definitely a bullish factor. I mean, I'm not really leaning towards the bullish end right now, ladies and gentlemen. The trend, in my opinion, still looks overwhelmingly bearish. But, what we are seeing right now is we are continuing to hold in these upper channels, which is definitely a strong piece of sentiment there. Now, I'm a full-time swing trader, right, guys? I love to trade large swings, 5% or more swings. That is my specialty. Right now, this is certainly just a day trader's market, scalping these little itty-bitty areas here for micro profits. If you are, not an experienced day trader, that crushes this market repetitively, if you're not highly experienced, this is a pretty rough range to be trading, as it's it's just not really a swing zone. It's more of little ins and outs, with a lot of equilibrium tendency going on in here. So nothing too alarming there on the Bitcoin front. Once again, we'll go over to the Kraken chart here, where I have the weekly descending triangle outlined. Of course, guys, as I've mentioned on nearly every stream here, descending triangles per classical technical analysis theory do break to the downside about 70% of the time. Of course, that does mean that 30% of the time we will defy the odds and break to the upside. Right now, with the action that I'm seeing here, guys, with the lack of interest and the fundamental factors that I'm going to get into now, I do believe we are still poised for a break to the downside. We still are on a huge descending volume pattern right now. We see no momentum building in the MACD at all in terms of what we'd be looking for from a bullish perspective. And obviously, guys, the RSI as well is right now stuck at 44, which definitely has some room to go to the downside before even reaching oversold territory. So for me, I am still leaning pretty bearish here, guys. Of course, I am going to continue to trade this market like an absolute savage. I will be keeping my VIPs updated with every single trade I make. Shout out to you guys there. Now, let's get into some of the fundamental issues that I see right now that could be hindering Bitcoin's price action. All right. We got an update here, guys, from the quote-unquote godfather of ETFs. This is Reggie Brown. He believes that what we are going to see right now is a rejection of the ETF. He believes that, here's the quote, all right, quote unquote, "It's very difficult for the SEC to wrap their heads around a positive approval because there's no data yet, ... The markets just aren't here," end quote. So this is kind of going along with what we saw as well from BlackRock. Oh, here it even says it in this article. Look at that. It says that BlackRock also they kind of pulled back on their sentiment that they were going to be launching a crypto exchange or crypto products of some sort because they believe that the market just isn't ready yet. I believe the word that they used coming from BlackRock was the market wasn't legitimate yet. The thing is, guys, is that crypto is definitely still the Wild West right now. There is a lot of uncertainty. I mean, even just the fact that these exchanges or these funds and firms could get their client Bitcoins hacked, right? Or some type of heist, right? There's a lot of intrinsic problems here. The thing is that the market does need to mature a little bit for these large financial institutions to be able to confidently hold hundreds of millions of client capital. And I do happen to agree with Reggie Brown here. I don't foresee a Bitcoin ETF hitting the traditional markets anytime soon. I just don't see it. We've already seen so many ETFs rejected at this point that I believe it's going to take a miracle, honestly, for an ETF to get approved at this point. And I actually believe it's healthy. I think right now, if we did have an ETF enter the space, it would be rushed. I think that, I just don't see it as a positive right now. I believe that we do need to see this market mature just a little bit. But yeah, obviously, guys, if we do get the word that the VanEck SolidX ETF is rejected, news hasn't been affecting this market that much lately because we are in a bear market, right? And news generally doesn't tend to do much to the price in either direction when we're stuck in a bear market. But, this is one of the last pieces of sentiment in here that is giving hodlers hope right now. So I can't see, I can't for sure say that I believe that rejection would really crater the price and drop us very low, but it does not provide any fuel to the flame to help the sentiment to put us on another parabolic uptrend. Just some food for thought there. Now, guys, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about here is the mortgage rates, the student loan rates, tariffs, interest rates just through the roof right now, guys. It's sheesh. It's going to be very tough, not only on the crypto market, in my opinion, which we are already starting to see now, but the stock market as well, guys, is certainly going to be taking a hit here. So let's talk about this. All right. So how recessions work, how, depressions work. What winds up happening, guys, is that these bubbles, right? Bubbles rise when interest and credit is cheap, right? When you can buy a house for a low mortgage rate, when you can charge your credit card up for next to nothing, when credit is cheap and buying is cheap. This is what allows assets to bubble. This is what allows the stock market to bubble. And then all of the sudden, when things have gotten out of control, we see these rates start to go up, and they go up rather dramatically. And what winds up happening is that when credit is no longer cheap, this is when we start to feel the effect in the markets, the stocks, the housing, and then this all trickles in to general retail stores, goods that you buy on an everyday basis, services, and this is where inflation and other things of that nature start to show their ugly face again, right? So if you guys haven't been up to date with this, the mortgage rates for homes has been rising at an incredible rate right now. Most rates right now are definitely in the 5% range. I mean, this chart here is even being very generous. I mean, if you look up the 30-year fixed, it's most banks right now are over 5%. Depending on your credit score. That's the truth. That is insane with the price of real estate right now. No average American working an average 9-to-5 job with student loan debt, which we'll get to in a moment, can afford to buy housing right now. The rate is too high, right? With a 5% mortgage, buying an average home of like $300,000 to $400,000 USD, you're going to pay more than double for the home in the end. It's savage. There's no way that an average working class individual can afford at these rates right now, and that's showing in the price. I've covered it here on these streams, guys. The United States housing market is hurting. The Australian housing market is hurting. The UK, Canada, etc. Almost all English-speaking countries around the world are experiencing a severe slowdown in the housing market right now. And it's, this is what happens, as I was just explaining about the credit, right? When credit goes up, the prices of the homes have to come down because it has to compensate, right? If the rate is higher, then that means that the price of the home has to come down to allow borrowers, aka the people taking on the mortgage rates at these rates, to buy the home at a reasonable price, right? So right now, guys, we are seeing a crazy forecast here. I mean, this is all tentative, guys. There's nothing here that's, it's just an extrapolation, right? This site has the interest rate going up to 8.7% in 2022. They have it by the end of 2019 potentially being over 6%. And they have it by 2021 rather, being up into the 7th percentile range. Guys, this is insane. Just to put this on your radar, this is what we see happen before recessions, right? This is how it works. When credit is now very expensive, it pulls markets down. There's no way for markets to flourish when credit is expensive. And we're already seeing it in the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. The S&P is just really right now struggling. I'll get into this maybe at the end of this stream. I believe right now, guys, that we could be seeing something like a dead cat bounce here, a rejection off resistance. We'll probably bounce around in here. I believe we're going to go down some more, guys, on the S&P. I really do. Of course, guys, do your own research. This is not investment advice. Always do your own research and your own due diligence before investing or trading in any market, as they are incredibly volatile and high risk. I personally believe that we're going to see some further downside here for the S&P. And this is obviously coming from the interest rates going up. The banks, they just raised interest rates not long ago. We have more rate hikes coming, one at the end of this year in December, and tentatively right now 3 in 2019. Mortgage rates going through the roof. Right now, these are student loans, ladies and gentlemen. Student loans right now are over 5% on average. And that's for undergrad. If you want to go into graduate, look at this. Over 6%, nearly 7%. That's from federal rates. If you go into the private, guys, the rates are even higher, right? The rates are even higher. And this is coming from, tuition costs are raising at a rapid rate. Jobs and salaries are not rising at all, not inflation adjusted at all. Many students defer their loans so that by the time they even start paying them off, this interest has already accrued incredibly high. It really right now, guys, is a debt disaster. And I'm telling you, what happens is when the debt gets too high, it's very hard for markets to flourish. Doesn't matter if it's the S&P 500, stocks. It does not matter if it's housing, cryptocurrency. I know, guys, that I'm going to get it from the Moon Boys. Oh, Kirby, but Bitcoin is a hedge against the debt, Kirby. It's a hedge against the debt. Really? I'd like to see how Bitcoin performs, the most risk-on asset in the world, how it performs when everyone is up to their eyeballs in debt that they didn't even realize they were taking on. Mortgage rates have to start being refinanced because nobody can pay off the house that they have, the roof over their head. Tariffs, which we're going to get into now, ladies and gentlemen, are running amok on the blue chip companies here in the United States. How now Ford, we'll look at this chart in just a second. Ford, ladies and gentlemen, automobiles, tariffs on metals that they need to be imported to build these automobiles. Look at this. The U.S. has a 25% tariff on steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum imported from several countries, which has now cost Ford over $1 billion in profits. Okay? Let's look at Ford stock for a second. Yeah. Guys, just so you understand, this is the type of action you see when interest rates are rising, tariffs are coming in. It's a debacle, ladies and gentlemen. And what happens here is when large companies that are dependent upon this profitability, this starts to go down the drain. Through the tariffs, they now are losing all of this profit. Through the rates rising and debt being a complete burden to the average American, auto loan rates have to go higher, because if they stay low, everybody's going to be defaulting on these auto loans. Credit tightens up, borrowing dries up, and these profits become even worse because the buyers are nowhere to be found. Borrowers are non-existent when the credit is expensive. When credit is cheap, everybody feels rich, everybody feels wealthy, and the good times are rolling. When credit becomes expensive and reality settles in, this is when things get a little ugly, ladies and gentlemen, and we are seeing more tariffs come in here. On January 1st, they're adding a 25% tariff on inverters and I believe non-lithium batteries. We're seeing more and more tariffs be put on right now, which, of course, as I just showed you guys with Ford, their chart is it's a travesty. I don't know what other word to use. And what happens here, guys, is as the profits go down, Ford is just an example. This is going to happen to many large companies in the United States. When the profits go down, the stock goes down, and jobs are lost. Because when these companies are losing profits, they have to cut weight out to stabilize their profitability. Americans are going to start losing jobs over this, ladies and gentlemen. And when they lose their jobs, they have student debt up to their forehead. Their mortgage rate is too high and they just lost a job. What is going to happen here? Is everybody just going to pile all the money they don't have right into Bitcoin because Satoshi's here to save the day, Kirby? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a realist here. I'm just somebody that trades this market full time, crushes it on an everyday basis, and gets this crypto. If we continue to see this trend in the global financial markets here, I believe that this will be a little bit of a hectic time here for Bitcoin. Will it be unprofitable? Absolutely not. The more turmoil that enters this, the more profitable it will be for the savage traders who play the swings. If this market is going down, you best believe I'm shorting it. If we do happen to have an inverse correlation here, where we wind up seeing prices rocket ship because Satoshi is in fact here to save the day, you best believe that I'll be playing it on the long end. But what I see right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that all of the signs are here and laid out on the table for us, that the economy is about to enter a very, very a cautious time. That's the best way to put it. I'm not here to, call call a recession or call a whatever you want to call it. As a technical analyst and a full-time trader, I see that what's going on here appears to be stock market negative, appears to be crypto market negative, appears to be housing market negative. And as a cryptocurrency full-time trader, right, I'm here to correlate these markets to one another. And trust me, guys, I'm here with you guys every day. Shout out to everybody subscribed here. We keep it real on this channel, right? We tell it how it is. We don't, sugarcoat anything. No fluff and puff, peanut butter sandwiches, pumpkin pies, and unicorns. Right now, the thing is that I believe that we are seeing a tough time for Bitcoin because of all of the uncertainty in these other markets, with all the interest rates and the debt and the tariffs and the stock market. Please, guys, do not overlook that the stock market right now is really in a huge, huge tumultuous period where, like I was stating, guys, I personally believe that there's further downside to come on this. That is just my own opinion. I believe that we might still see some serious downside in the U.S. stock market. To me, it looks like a dead cat bounce. You can see some clear resistance lines I have drawn here. It would not surprise me in the least to test back down into this little pocket that I have drawn here with the bottom at around 25.30. 25.30. There's a pocket here under 2,600. I believe that there's a good chance that we could find ourselves in that zone, and it wouldn't be too crazy outlandish. If we zoom out even further, I mean, if we go into an all-out free fall, I have some lines out there that I believe we could fall into these zones. Like I said, guys, when credit rises, like it is with the mortgages, just Fed interest rates rising, student loans, and tuition, that's the big one, ladies and gentlemen. Tuition rising steadily year after year after year after year, and interest rates rising year after year after year after year. It's going to get increasingly more difficult for assets to gain value. Assets gain value when credit is cheap. Assets lose value when credit is expensive, because nobody can use expensive credit to push these bubbles higher and higher by buying. The buying happens when the credit is cheap. The selling happens when the credit is expensive. And that is how bubbles pop, my friends. And that is what causes reactionary recessions. That is what causes stock market pullbacks, corrections, crashes, whatever terminology you want to use. But as a full-time trader in this space, ladies and gentlemen, you know that I love to keep my competitive advantage over average Joe and James at the water cooler. So what I see right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that Bitcoin, once we break this equilibrium here, we are going to be in the most volatile Bitcoin conditions possibly we've ever seen. Because if we break that support line at 5,700, if the mortgage rates continue to go up and panic starts to settle in, if we start to get jobs being lost at a rapid pace because of these tariffs that are starting to kick in 2019, if the stock market continues to plunge and these companies have to start laying people off because they cannot afford to keep them because their bottom line is being affected, we're going to see some turmoil not only in Bitcoin, but in all financial markets, ladies and gentlemen. And as a trader, this should not scare you. As a trader, you should look at this as opportunity to create life-changing capital. Battle helmet on, trench coat on, mud boots, and a bottle of yo-ho-ho. Grandma's ready to get these cookies. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a real stream today because the market's not moving that much right now. Couple of poop coins. Poop Coin Patrick and his band of crypto monkeys, I'm sure they're, looking at sub 500 market cap coins, licking their lips, ready to get this crypto and probably lose, all of their 0.1 Bitcoin that they have. I'm not interested in that garbage right now, ladies and gentlemen. The garbaggio is not for me. What I'm interested in is life-changing capital, swing trades, and getting this crypto with an advantage over everybody else in this market. I've traded this market full-time for a very long time, ladies and gentlemen, and I will continue to do so. I don't fluff you up with the peanut butter pies and unicorns. I tell it how it is, and I hope that you guys see what I'm seeing right now. We're going to be entering the most turbulent market conditions across global markets in the near future, and it's time to up your game. This is not a time to be flying by the seat of your pants, hoping that Satoshi takes you to the moon. This is not that time, ladies and gentlemen. This is a time where you need to up your skill level. You need to be ready to get this crypto right now. Because if you are not fundamentally skilled enough to play these swing trades and play the volatility that is provided by this market, You're going to miss out on the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm telling you, shout out to my VIPs. I keep my VIPs updated with every trade, every sentiment, everything that I see in absolute real time up to the exact second. So shout out to my VIPs. You guys know I'm going to be playing this market super aggressively. Do not be taking that trip to Rec City, ladies and gentlemen, with Average Joe and James at the water cooler. The point of opportunity that we're entering right now is one that cannot be afforded to be missed. This is going to provide the opportunity of a lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, for most, they will get caught like a deer in the headlights and be scared. They will go crying to their mommy on the shoulder. "Oh, Kirby, I took a bad mortgage, Kirby, and I got wrecked. Oh, Kirby, my student loans. Oh, Kirby, the tariffs, Kirby, the tariffs." When there's crying and blood in the streets, ladies and gentlemen, this is when opportunity arises for the savages. This is where the boys turn into men, the girls into women, and the sheep into wolves. Let's get this crypto. My VIPs know I'm not playing around, ladies and gentlemen. My battle helmet is on. My finger is on the pulse of this market. And I'm going to make the most of this opportunity that's presented itself to me right now. Let's get this crypto. Guys, if you could one last time, moon the likes, moon them up, smash those thumbs, click the subscribe button, tick the little bell. Let's get this crypto. I'm serious today, and I hope you are too. Being said, guys, I am going to wrap up the stream here. Sheesh. Turbulent times ahead. Opportunistic times ahead for those that are serious and ready for life-changing opportunity to get this crypto. So I'll see you guys in the VIP, all right? Shout out to all my VIPs. I love you guys, and I'll keep you updated in real time with every single trade and insight I have in absolute real time. Shout out to you guys there. I'll see you in VIP, and until next time, my friends, be safe, be happy, be healthy. It's your boy, Crypto Kirby. Peace and love, my friends. Curbs.